Strap in for today's story as we go across the pond to the town of Blackburn, Lancashire. While it's debatable if someone wants babies, we can all agree we find them exceedingly adorable. It's hard to imagine somebody wanting to harm one. This is why it's all the more heartbreaking when I come across a case where a baby dies. And in this case, it's not just one. It's the perplexing case of Jordan Monaghan right now on Love and Murder. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Love and Murder, the weekly true crime podcast discussing relationships gone terribly wrong, where our motto is, you're either someone's last love or their first murder. I am your host, Kai, and our show discusses true crime cases told in the form of a story with mystery and some suspense. Be sure to subscribe to Love and Murder on Spotify, Apple, or whatever platform you're on, just so you don't miss an episode. In today's case, we're talking about a man who seems struck with calamity year after year after year as he loses the ones he loved. Now, the question is this a coincidence? Or is it something else? But first, I want to remind you to head on over to our exclusive group at patreon.com/love and murder. Our upcoming bonus episodes are Crazy Crime, the roundup of the craziest crimes we found online, as well as the case of a horrible serial killer, Luis Garavito. So be sure to join us over there. You don't want to miss what we have going on over there. But listen to the end of the show and I'll let you know more about our Patreon. In the meantime, on to the show. Born in July 1991, Jordan Monaghan was a resident of Blackburn, Lancashire. Stacey Marie, this one's for you. He wasn't what you would call a bright student, but he did okay for himself. Jordan struggled with anger management and he had behavioral issues when he was small. Now, Blackburn is a small county, so everyone here knows everyone. Now, some of y'all live in small towns and know how that is. Is it annoying to you or do you find it comforting? I'd like to know, seriously. Tell me in the comments below. Jordan was remembered for setting fire to the church when he was little. This is what he was remembered for. The reason he gave as to why he was doing this is because it was in retaliation to something the pastor had said. As a teenager, he fell in love with what everyone said was the prettiest girl in class, Laura Gray. The two got engaged in 2008 after dating for a while. Jordan had proposed to her when she was only 16, and it was just so romantic as she recalls. He got down on one knee, and she agreed to marry him. Basic proposal, but everybody's proposal is romantic, not taking it away from anyone. Laura got pregnant in 2011, and their first child was born on November 17, 2011. And at 19 years old, Jordan became a father to little Logan. Laura had just turned 18 at the time. Logan was described as an independent little guy, and he was such a pleasure to be around. He was a sweet little baby who just loved to dance, and his favorite song was Troublemakers by Oliver. Have no idea who that is or that song. Now, in the UK, their school system is different from the US. They follow the Cambridge system, where the junior high is O levels and senior high is called A levels. However, Jordan was unable to complete his A levels and ended up dropping out of school. And because being a dropout in Lancashire is kind of hard, he ended up having to go work in construction instead, because at that time in construction, you actually didn't need to finish high school to be able to do construction. Now, obviously, he probably was able to do certain things that didn't require a degree and was more based on experience. So you start off and you grow in that skill. So this is why he was able to do construction, which again, construction is not anything to turn your nose up at. It's a really good profession, and I commend people who are in the construction industry. The couple rented a small house on Chapel Street in Blackburn, and little Logan filled their lives with colors and love, just like babies usually do. Shortly after Logan was born, Laura was surprised when she tested positive for pregnancy again. Unfortunately, at this time, Jordan and Laura's relationship was strained because of money. Usually the main thing that is a stressor in many relationships. And on top of that, Jordan had a real problem. Their financial situation was caused by him gambling away any real money they made. His irresponsible spending habits drove Laura to an ultimatum. And on September 23rd, 2012, she told him that she would leave him if he didn't stop gambling or at least get help for gambling and try to stop. The two were on the verge of divorce when, later that day, Jordan called Laura to tell her that Logan had swallowed some paracetamol. So that's basically Tylenol, as most people that I know call it. I don't know anybody who says paracetamol. And some people even call it Panadol. So that's, I mean, maybe in other countries, over here we call it Tylenol. And I have never heard it called anything else. So that was kind of interesting. I mean, maybe acetaminophen, but that's about it. But anyways, as we all know, take too much Tylenol, you can die for it, especially a baby. Thankfully, the baby survived. And because of this close call, it actually brought the little family back together and actually closer together. Now, Jordan, he did tell her that he would try and stop gambling, but as hard as he tried, he just couldn't quit the habit. So, because he couldn't stop, they continued arguing, and it was just something that kept happening. But the funny thing is, whenever they had a serious fight, it just seemed like Logan had some type of medical emergency, and Jordan would really step up to the plate and be like the father and the husband that Laura knew he could be. And this always melted Laura's anger and made her realize that no one would love her baby as much as his father. So she would always just, deflate and stay with Jordan. When Logan turned 1, the couple welcomed their daughter, Ruby, on December 8th, 2012. It was the last week of December, and Ruby had ended up becoming sick, and Laura herself had a tough month between giving birth to Ruby, taking care of Logan. She was exhausted. Jordan realized that, she's a new mom, she's tired, she needs help, and he came in as a good dad, good husband, and said, hey, let me take the baby. I'm going to go rock her to sleep in the living room, and you get sleep because you look beautiful but tired. You just look like you need to sleep. And Laura said, okay, definitely. This is her husband, somebody she trusts, the baby's father. I mean, who wouldn't go to sleep around that? That night, Jordan woke Laura up when he realized that Ruby wasn't breathing. During the early hours of December 29th, they rushed Ruby to the hospital. The baby was diagnosed with early bronchiolitis. According to WebMD, bronchiolitis is a common lung infection among infants. It can cause coughing, wheezing, and a hard time when breathing. While most cases can be treated at home, it's also the leading reason infants are admitted to the hospital. Adults can get it too, but it's very rare and usually related to other infections or injuries. After 2 days in a hospital, the doctor sent her home as she seemed to have recovered significantly. Her breathing was fine. They couldn't hear anything in her lungs. Everything was good, so they discharged her. Ruby's condition to them seemed aggravated by some type of an allergy because the chest infection wasn't severe enough to cause her asphyxiation. So on December 31st, the last day of the year, Laura brought her baby home and laid her in what they call a Moses basket, which is sort of like a bassinet but with foldable adjusted legs. She kissed Ruby goodnight, and Jordan decided to sit and watch over her for the night, which any parent would do. Your child just suddenly became sick. I'm not going to sleep. My child is a teenager, and if she suddenly became sick where she couldn't breathe, I'm going to at least try and stay up all night and watch her. And I'm pretty sure if I did fall asleep, it would just be dozing like, I need to see. Is she still breathing? I wouldn't be like asleep. Around 2 a.m., Jordan screamed for Laura. Laura! Help me! So she jumped up, ran to the living room, and when she went to the baby basket, she saw Ruby was covered with a blanket, and the baby was not breathing. Looking at her face, her little face was dark. Her lips were blue. And Laura was just, call 911, or actually they called National Health Service number 111, which is the UK, 911 in the US. The paramedics arrived, but they were unable to revive her. Nevertheless, they rushed Ruby to the hospital, where the 24-day-old baby was pronounced dead on January 1st, 2013 at 2:45 a.m. The loss of Ruby was just too much for Laura. As you can clearly imagine, Ruby hadn't even smiled yet. She was 24 days old. She hadn't even seen her mom clearly. She hadn't even got to say mama or taken her first steps yet. But one thing that bothered Laura was, why was Ruby covered with a blanket? If a baby isn't breathing, isn't your first instinct to uncover whatever's covering them, pull clothes off, trying to see if their chest will expand? But, she brushed it off thinking maybe Jordan was in shock, maybe he wasn't thinking clearly, that type of thing. After this, the couple's relationship became tense. Jordan, for his part, had become increasingly agitated with his family, and his behavior slowly became more abusive over the course of only a few months. He began gambling more, arguing more, just going in the opposite direction of being a good husband and father. Maybe it was the trauma of losing a child, because sometimes I hear about couples arguing more, spending less time together, taking it out on each other whenever they lose a child. So it could be because of that. Logan did, though, have a lot of love and attention from Jordan, but between Laura and Jordan, things weren't good. Now, the summer of 2013 for the couple was full of fights and verbal abuse. And just by this time, Laura was just done. She just had enough. It wasn't even just the fighting. Bills were left unpaid, savings, just money that she tried to save anywhere in the house, in the bank, whatever, it just always disappeared. And so Laura was like, I can't take this anymore. And she decided that she was going to end the relationship in July of 2013. The very next day after she told Jordan this, Jordan called her frantically, telling her that Logan had gone limp. He was rushed to the hospital, but the doctors couldn't find anything wrong with him. They put him on oxygen and he seemed to recover, and they just kept watch over him for a little while. And they didn't see anything wrong with him, so they diagnosed him with a respiratory infection and sent him back home. Once again, Laura saw just how amazing Jordan was with the baby, and just gave her another soft spot for him, and decided to, maybe I shouldn't break up with him. Now I'm just wondering here, are y'all seeing any kind of pattern at all? Because I know it just can't be me. On August 16th, 2013, as Laura was checking her mail, she was surprised to find a £2,000, which is $2,400 US, credit card debt from gambling. So, of course, even I would do this. She confronted Jordan, and they ended up having a huge fight. Which, what can you say, Jordan? Why are y'all fighting about this? You did wrong. You got caught. Shut up. And that night, he slept on the couch. The next morning, Laura saw him withdraw another £300 or $365 US at an ATM from a hidden bank account. You guys, he had a hidden bank account. This time, Jordan admitted that he had a secret account, but denied the gambling. I mean, of course you admitted you have a secret account. She saw you. What are you going to say? No, this is my friend's account. And this is where Laura realized this is where her rent money had been going. This is where literally all the bill money had been going. And this is why they were about to become evicted. This time, very calmly and very decisively, she told him, "We're done. Relationship is over. I'm not continuing on this path. No ifs, ands, or buts. No matter if anybody gets sick, me, you, Logan, I don't care. It's over." Of course, Jordan begged and pleaded, "Please, I'll be better. I'll stop gambling. I'll do da. When the begging didn't work, he ended up getting violent. "I'll beat you. I'll punch you. I'll blah, blah, blah." But Laura was like, "No, I'm done. I'm done." So Jordan was like, "All right, well, I tried." And that was it. On August 17th, Jordan took Logan, who was 21 months at the time, to the Waves swimming pool. The funny thing is, Jordan hated swimming and had never gone before. But, Laura thought he was being a good dad and let's take the baby out swimming. Let's take him to the pool. Get his little feet wet, have some fun, whatever. Jordan went in, paid the entry fee to the pool, and then he went straight to the changing rooms instead of going into the water. He then spent about 27 minutes in the changing room with his son. And I'm just wondering, how long does it take somebody to change a baby? You're just taking them out of their street clothes into their pool clothes. But okay, 27 minutes, you never know. Who's judging? Maybe it might take some people more time. Maybe the baby had an accident. You never know. Anyway, when he came out, the stroller's rain cover, that little flap that goes over to cover a baby from rain or snow or sunshine, was pulled out. But the funny thing is, it wasn't rainy or sunny or snowy, but, he had that rain guard up. He went home around 2:45 p.m., pushed the stroller against a wall in a corner, and Logan was still in there. And he went up to his wife and told her that something was wrong with the baby, but it's nothing to worry about. He's sleeping and, it's okay. Now, Laura, on the other hand, because the baby was out with his father, she was able to get a nap. She was much calmer, no more fighting, wasn't angry with Jordan, but, she was still breaking up with him. But she decided that, yeah, they can have dinner together. And after dinner, Jordan would have to leave. And he agreed. So he went out a few times, ran a couple errands, and then he had come back and he was going to go out to get a pizza for dinner. And that's when he asked Laura to wake Logan up from his nap. So Jordan left, and Laura, she decided not to wake Logan up right away so she can get some housework done. And then when she was, more like, okay, I have a lot of stuff done, let me go wake up the baby, she decided around 5:30 p.m. that day to go check on her son. She uncovered him from the stroller and stopped dead in her tracks. She recognized how this face looked because she saw it once before with Ruby. She panicked and started trying to resuscitate her son. When Jordan returned, seeing Laura frantic, he too tried to do CPR. They called 111 or 999 over in the US, and paramedics arrived and rushed the baby to Royal Blackburn Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Once again, there was no apparent cause of death, except maybe he was developing a chest infection. Once again, the tragedy brought the couple back together. Local TV channels interviewed Jordan about the loss of his child, and he begged for answers, meaning he was on TV saying, and I quote, "It feels like history is repeating itself. Everything has been taken from us." Oh, wait, I was supposed to do my British accent. Okay, hold on. "It feels like history is repeating itself. Everything has been taken from us." End quote. In August 2013, an inquest attributed Ruby's death to bronchiolitis, and Logan's cause of death remained, quote, unascertained. Doctors said it couldn't be SIDS, which was sudden infant death syndrome, because the parents were careful and they were watching Ruby at the time of her death. But I thought SIDS happens, it's sudden. It doesn't matter if you're watching the baby or not. Am I wrong? Let me know if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. Dr. Gary Batra, the hospital's pathologist, suggested perhaps hyperthermia might have caused the baby's death, since many young parents tend to put too many layers on the baby. Hyperthermia. So when I read this hyperthermia due to too many layers, I had to look it up. And according to, Frontiers in Pediatrics, heat stress and hyperthermia are common findings in sudden infant death syndrome victims. It has been suggested that thermal stress can increase the risk of SIDS directly via lethal hyperthermia or indirectly by altering autonomic functions. So basically, this is a leading cause of SIDS. So I guess, it could have been SIDS, and I didn't even know that. Overheating or hypothermia, on the other hand, overheating or hypothermia, in addition, does not leave signs post-mortem. So you still are like, we're not sure what happened. Additionally, Jordan and Laura had to undergo genetic tests to see whether the deaths were caused by a hereditary condition or not. When all the testing was said and done, everything appeared normal. Laura and Jordan remained close and started dating again in July 2015. They had another child on May 13, 2016. Although the child's name had been withheld in all documents and public proceedings, however, I dug a little deeper and did find the baby's name. But if they left it out of everything, I think I'm going to leave it out of this episode. I might go ahead and post it in our bonus just for our lovely lambs over there. But I won't say it in this episode. Just, they didn't post her name, so I'm not going to say her name in just over the airways for everyone to hear. Things were fine, except on September 18, 2016, during a small celebration for Leela, Laura found her husband recklessly gambling on a fruit machine. Now, lambs, I have a question. What the hell is a fruit machine? I don't gamble, and so I don't know what it is, but that's what she found him gambling on their baby's day. Laura ended the relationship. It was just over. You're still gambling. You're still throwing our money away. You're still not changing. Well, obviously, she hasn't really given him a reason to change because she never left him. But either way, he's still not changing, and she threw him out. Get out. He had to leave the house. And after he moved out, she was civil towards him. It wasn't a mean breakup or anything like that. She was still civil towards him, but she just didn't trust him anymore, especially with their money. Almost 10 days later, on September 27th, Jordan was over visiting, and he was in the living room with the baby when he suddenly screamed for Laura. Oh my God, such a familiar sound. What in the world? She ran downstairs to him holding their baby in his arms. 4-month-old baby had turned dark and couldn't breathe and had her eyes closed. He performed CPR while Laura called the EMS, and the baby recovered in time. Once again, there seemed to be nothing wrong with the child. Given their children's history, the baby was under observation for 2 days before being discharged. Jordan insisted he had found her choking. Nah, man. As a mother, I would have reviewed every single ounce of scenarios in my head. What went on that day from the beginning of the day till the end of the day? I would have gone through everything, even if I had to write it down and sit there and remember every ounce of the day. I would have then questioned, why did something always seem to happen with my kids when they were in Jordan's care? Like whenever they were alone, not even when they were in with me and him, when they were just with him, why did something always happen to them? Nothing ever seemed to happen to them in my care. 3 children, all with him, meaning it always happened when he was with them by themselves. And to me, that would be the common denominator, and you're never seeing my child again. I don't know, because I don't have hard evidence, I would more be like, you're never going to be alone with my child without me watching you like a hawk. And I know that's horrible because it might not be his fault, but you're the common denominator, and absolutely not. I don't care if this breaks trust between me and you. I don't care if me and you never get back together, but you're never watching my child without me watching you. That's how I would be. Maybe I'm too harsh, but that's just me. Anyway, on October 2nd, 2016, Laura left her daughter with Jordan. Oh my God. See, not something I would do. So he was going to look after her. Then she got a call from him to hurry back home because the baby wasn't breathing again. Do you see what I'm saying? This is no way. Fortunately, paramedics were on time and found a barely conscious child. With oxygen, she recovered within minutes. This time, she remained in the hospital for 9 days. The couple parted ways permanently because social services got involved. It only took almost 3 children dying the exact same way. The baby was taken into foster care, and on January 2018, Lancashire police opened an investigation called Operation Mayford to review the deaths of Ruby and Logan, as well as what happened with this baby here. So basically, they launched a double murder investigation. That's literally what happened. Jordan was arrested, but then bailed for further questioning. I don't understand why he needed to be bailed out for questioning. Neurologists, genetic experts, cardiologists, and pediatricians were consulted on the matter, and they all agreed that there seemed to be no natural explanation for the children's death or for what happened to the last baby. While there were no signs of physical trauma, the most plausible explanation was that they were smothered to death. Around that time, while out on bail and awaiting trial, Jordan met a woman named Evie Adams. Why is he out on bail awaiting trial so that he can meet other people if you have him for a double murder and a possible, like an attempted murder? Okay. Well, their relationship was passionate but violent. There was love and there was anger, and it was a volatile relationship. Does that sound familiar to you? But before we move on, let me tell you about Evie Adams. Evie was born in 1996, and she had been taken into foster care at about 7 years old. Yvonne and Bernard Adams had gotten a call one night about a couple of foster children. It was supposed to only be for a few days, but those children never left. One of those children was Evie Adams, and they raised her like she was their own child. She loved her foster parents and the way they felt about her. She always told Yvonne that they would never end up in the old folks' home because she would always take care of them. Evie had dated her first boyfriend for 4 years. Bernard and Yvonne approved of the young man, even when Evie ended up having his daughter. They supported Evie also with her decision to part ways with her boyfriend. She was described as an independent girl, and they gave her the confidence to navigate through life on her own terms. In 2018, when Evie was 22 years old, she was struggling with her breakup, and it was just emotionally draining time for her. That's when she met Jordan. Her parents, though, found her being extremely secretive about who she was dating, which was not something that was normal for Evie. She usually told them everything. But for some reason, with this new guy, she wouldn't talk about it. So her foster father went around town to ask about this guy. And at first, people didn't want to say anything. But he kept asking, who was this man? I need to know what's going on with him. Why won't my daughter talk about him? The foster parents felt that this new guy in Evie's life had been the cause of her breakup, number one, since they had actually seen him sneaking out of her room one morning, and this was before she broke up with her ex. Slowly and with a lot of prompting, the community members told her foster father about Jordan's violent past and about the murder allegations. Of course, her father was like, oh, hell no. And he went back to Evie and told Evie about everything and said, look, I don't want you with this guy. You don't need to be with this guy. And for the first time, in Evie's life, when it came to them, she resisted. She was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I know him. You don't know him. And she said, I'm not leaving him. So she stayed with him, and the family was really worried about her. They kept asking her about him and how's it going, and she just wouldn't talk about it. On April 18th, 2018, Jordan was interrogated regarding the deaths of his children, and he denied anything to do with their death. Also, in May 2018, remember he's out on bail, right? A 12-month non-molestation order was issued against him. It was in context to an incident regarding Evie's daughter. Jordan had had a huge fight with Evie about her ex and had threatened to burn down her house regardless that her daughter was in it. Again, he's out on bail on murder charges, 2 and 1 attempted. And he threatened to burn down somebody's house. I'm believing him and I'm locking him back up. Or if I'm not the police, I'm leaving him. So he threatened to burn down her house while her daughter was in it. Whether she was there or not, I don't care. I'm going to burn down this house. So she called the police and everything. He got this charged against him. And I don't know. I guess like somebody who's in an abusive relationship, she just said, we were just having a bad day. I don't think you would have done that. And she ended up staying with Jordan. Now, lambs, I just want to let you know that this isn't just a red flag. It's literally a whole tent. It's a whole red tent with a banner saying, run. But I guess she's a domestic abuse victim or she's in love. I don't know. But a lot of domestically abused women they stay. It's hard for them to break free of their abuser. I personally wouldn't call it Stockholm syndrome. I don't know what I would call it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So included with that 12-month non-molestation order that was issued against him, he wasn't supposed to be around Evie or her child. However, he said, F that court order, and ended up meeting Evie in June 2018, December 2018, and March 2019. Now, mind you, these are just incidents where he got caught. I'm pretty sure he was seeing her way more than that. In January 2019, police stopped a car with Jordan and Evie in Blackburn. Aware of the court order, Jordan claimed Evie, quote, some bird I just met. That was my British accent, by the way. And basically told police that this was their first date. So basically he didn't tell them, this is Evie, and I'm not supposed to be here. Thank you for stopping me, officer. But, I have an order of protection put against me by this woman because I said I was going to burn the house down with her and her kid in it or whatever. So that's who this is sitting here. Now, of course, he didn't say that. He just said, this is someone, I just picked her up. This is the first date. So they checked who was in the car with him, and they checked his background and saw that, this ain't some bird, dude. You're not supposed to be here with her. And so he had to go back to court. So he went to Blackburn Magistrates Court, where he was given a 12-week sentence and was suspended for 12 months. As a result of these breaches, many of them to which Evie consented to, so she was okay with it, she lost custody of her daughter, who was considered in danger. Jordan's 12-week order expired in May 2019, and the couple continued in a legally consenting relationship once more. I'm sorry, my daughter was taken away from me. I'm not in anybody's relationship. I need to stay away from the thing that got my daughter taken away, and that's it. Get away from me. You ever come in 2 feet of me again, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my daughter back. Why did you keep this guy in your house? Are you serious? He moved in, they're back together. Of course, they started fighting, and gradually the abuse got worse. While it's not reported that there were physical fights, it was more arguing and emotional damage. Emotional damage! Despite support services, social services, and police intervention, Evie continued to stay with Jordan. Towards September 2019, Evie had finally had enough, and she was thinking about leaving Jordan. And she told Jordan as much. So he decided to kind of like woo her and, hey, let's find that spark again. And so they decided to travel and have a small weekend away from the county to sort things out. And they decided to do this on October 11th. Their friends, Kimberly Edwards and Jamie Rashid, went with them. And they went traveling like in this little caravan camper-like thing. And while they were out on their weekend away, the friends witnessed them get into a huge fight. The fight was because Evie had tried to break up with Jordan, and Jordan accused her of doubting him. He claimed that she thought he was cheating on her, while she was like, that's not what I thought. I just don't want to be in this relationship anymore. It's just too much. We're constantly arguing. My kid got taken away from me. It's just more downs than there are ups, and I just don't want to be here anymore. It has nothing to do with me thinking about you cheating, because I'm not thinking about that at all. So after their holiday, and upon getting home, she texted Jordan, quote, "We're done," and started Googling one-bedroom apartments to rent in Blackburn. However, by Tuesday, October 15th, they'd made up already. But Evie kept searching for rental properties. So I don't know if she was like, she wanted to be with him, but she's like, I'm going to keep my options open. Maybe I just, one day I really am done and I need to get out. So she did keep searching for rental properties. 2 days later, October 17th, Evie started feeling sick and she started complaining that her stomach was aching. On October 19th, Kimberly, Evie, Jamie, and Jordan were hanging out at Evie and Jordan's house. Kimberly, at that time, was on a FaceTime call with her grandmother, and her grandmother asked if she could help with whatever was going on with Evie. Evie said, yeah, sure, but I don't want to take any painkillers because she didn't like medicine, she didn't like drugs, she didn't like anything like that. And she thought maybe it would just be the stomach flu. So the grandmother tried to help, but she really couldn't find anything wrong. So she agreed maybe it was the flu. Later on that night, Jamie saw Jordan give Evie something out of a brown glass bottle. And he couldn't identify what it was because prescription drugs are now handed out in small plastic bottles and they're labeled. So what in the world did he give her? Maybe some juice? I don't know. So at the end of the night, the friends left, and the next day, the couple went to stay at Evie's aunt's house in Hazel Close in Blackburn. Evie then texted her friend Kimberly and said she felt sleepy and dazed all the time. She didn't understand why she felt like this. She'd never felt like this. She'd been sick with the flu before, but it never felt like this. And then Evie texted Jordan, quote, "I feel like I'm dying," end quote. My British accent is terrible. Jordan got an appointment for Evie at Oakenhurst Surgery. But then Jordan said he wasn't able to take her to the appointment, and obviously Evie couldn't go by herself, so she stayed in bed that day. On October 21st, Jordan called the EMS saying that Evie had been throwing up for 4 days and was dizzy. They got an appointment at St. Ives Medical Center, and Evie failed to show up for her appointment, which you can't really blame her. She can't really drive, so if Jordan isn't taking her, what in the world? On October 22nd, Evie texted a friend about how Jordan insisted not to go see a doctor. She said that he said that he could help her get better instead. Now, my question is, I know Jordan isn't taking her to a hospital and she can't take herself because she's so sick. But why didn't one of her friends take her? Maybe they just weren't aware of how sick she was. Maybe they just thought, it was the flu, or maybe she had a high temperature, which was making her feel dizzy. Maybe. The next night, Evie canceled a night out with Kimberly because she just didn't feel good at all. Jordan called 911. Jordan called 111 again with Evie's symptoms: dizziness, vomited, blurred vision, disorientation, and abdominal pain. However, when 111 called them back, not once, but twice, both calls went unanswered. Around 10:10 p.m., There was a text from Evie's phone to Jordan that said, quote, I took all them tablets you gave me today, as well as just took 10 cocodamol and 8 paracetamol because I don't want to live no more, and I'll carry on taking more. Why did my British accent sound southern? The next day, there were more texts. He asked her if she still wanted to kill herself, to which she replied, quote, yes, am I allowed burgers? What? Okay. So many things going on here. First of all, Jordan's taking her saying she's killing herself in like complete stride, like she's just saying, hey, I want some lemonade. And then, what? Am I allowed burgers? I don't, okay. One of Evie's friends called that day. Well, text. One of Evie's friends text that day, and Evie told her friend that Jordan had gotten her a doctor's appointment. However, there was actually no record of a doctor's appointment that day. On October 24th, 2019, Evie was violently ill and basically in need of emergency medical treatment. Her aunt Dawn Bevan was actually there with her. Around 3 p.m., Jordan received a text message from Evie which read, Jordan, I don't want to be here anymore. I've taken some drugs and I don't want help. After this text, Jordan took her phone and her laptop and left the house around 6 p.m. What? So she says, I'm going to kill myself, and you're just like, I'm going to go get pizza down the road. You want anything? You want extra onions on it or no? Okay, well, I'm going to take your phone and your laptop because I guess these are the things that'll stop you from committing suicide. I'm going to take these to make sure you don't commit suicide. I'm going to leave the knives and the alcohol and the prescription drugs in the house, but these two things I'm going to take with me. I'm going to go get pizza and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. What? So if her aunt was there with her, why did she allow him to take her phone and laptop? I don't understand this. And I don't know. Either way, she was there, so she wasn't alone. And at around 8 p.m., Aunt Dawn went to check on Evie and found her unresponsive and immediately went and called 111. Actually, in my research, it said the aunt called 999 for an ambulance. So is it different? You call 111 for in general? And if you need just one service, I guess ambulance is 999. Is that how it is in UK? Anyway, while waiting for paramedics to arrive, Aunt Dawn tried CPR and just, everything to help resuscitate Evie, but she just wouldn't wake up. Her lips were blue. Her face was this weird color. All of this sounds very familiar to me. In this instance, police arrived at the scene to gather evidence and to speak with Jordan. So when he came home to find the paramedics and he came home to find the police. And he started a wailing. Oh, I can't believe. Oh my God, no. Just the devastated boyfriend. He explained to officers that she had taken 4 Zopiclone and 2 Tramadols that morning. But I thought they said that Evie didn't like to take medicine. He also said that she had a blister packets of tablets, but officers didn't find that at the scene. On October 28th, an autopsy, or as they say apparently in Britain, a post-mortem, revealed that Evie had died due to an overdose. She had consumed a large range of broadly sedative drugs, diazepam and, I don't know how to say the next one, pregabalin, in the days leading up to October 24th. And then on October 24th, she had taken a fatal dose of up to 20 50 milligram tramadol tablets in the hours before her death. The effect was very bad because she already had sedative drugs in her system. Also in the autopsy, it was revealed that there was no evidence of gastrointestinal disease to explain, basically why she was having that stomach pain or anything. Remember, she was like feeling all sick and everything, and her stomach was cramping. There was no evidence to explain why that was happening. Jordan told police that Evie had committed suicide. He put up Facebook posts saying, he missed her and I loved her, and just grieving very, very publicly. Police were like, yeah, too much death is following you, so we're going to kind of investigate this. And they launched a detailed investigation into the matter. And basically, like, part of the reason they just launched an investigation is, like I said, too much death was following him. And then his statements weren't consistent with what Evie's friends had said, and also with the text that she had sent to some of her friends, mainly Kimberly. On November 6th, while they were preparing for Evie's funeral, Kimberly walked in on Jordan and noticed that he just abruptly shut his laptop. Just whenever she got close to him, she would just close his laptop. And he said, I'm just working, and it's a project that I'm working on that, I don't want anybody to see. He also spent time that day printing documents and searching through a bag of Evie's things, saying that he wanted to find this picture of himself, a specific picture, I guess, that he wanted to place with her in her coffin. As he was looking around, he opened the back of a picture frame and 2 letters fell out. And when that happened, he just started like, oh my God, look at these letters. And he hastily picked them up. And Kimberly was like, oh, well, I'll read those to you if you're worried about what it says, I'll read them to you. But Jordan refused. He said he could see that the letters were written by Evie, and one was addressed to her daughter, and the other was a suicide note. When police interviewed Jordan, they asked him about a WhatsApp group and contact between 2 guys named Tom Bank and Ben Grundy. Jordan told them that, no, you have the wrong idea. First of all, I was in contact with Tom and Ben so they could help me plan a party in October, and I don't know what you're talking about when you're talking about a WhatsApp group. I mean, seriously, officers, anyone could have used my phone. Like, literally anybody could have used my phone. I leave it everywhere. And I'm automatically logged into my online profile, so anybody could have done that. And, those dastardly people used my phone to make phone calls and buy drugs. I mean, I just say no, officer, just like McGruff, the crime dog, taught me. Wait, no. McGruff is in the US. So whatever y'all have in the UK, I don't know. We have McGruff, or we did anyway. After some investigation, police felt that they had enough evidence to arrest Jordan, and that's just what they did. In January 2021, Jordan was arrested and charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of cruelty to a child, and 1 count of murder. Just 1 count of murder? Well, I guess, okay. Investigation in the trial had revealed the true story. Starting on October 17, 2019, Jordan began searching for prescription drugs on the black market. He sent multiple messages over several days to a WhatsApp group called UK Tablets, requesting gabapentin, zipoclone, and diazepam. If you recall, this was the time when Evie started complaining about her stomach pains. When Jordan had set up her doctor's appointment on the 21st, he had messaged UK Tablets 8 minutes later asking, quote, "You got blues, mate?" referring to the diazepam. She failed to meet her doctor, while the next day Jordan had apparently seen a doctor. So she didn't go. Basically, I don't want to say she didn't go. He didn't take her, but he went. At the doctor's appointment, he reported feeling down and requested a prescription of zopiclone to aid in sleeping. Despite not being diagnosed with depression, the doctor provided Jordan with a 1-week prescription to the medication, which he picked up from the pharmacy. All right, so I got to pause here a minute. When you actually want to be healed naturally by a doctor, and I'm not talking about all doctors here, I'm only talking about like the ones in my experience. When you want to be healed naturally, you get all kind of like holdups, or I don't know what's wrong, or it must be anxiety, even though it's my toe that's numb, that must be related to anxiety, all kind of stuff. All he had to do was say, I'm depressed and I need pills. And the doctor was like, okay. And he got that the same day. Seriously? Wow. Now, this happened around the time when he called the medical helpline. Remember that day when they called him back and he ignored the 2 calls? Yeah. Then over the next week, Jordan, who was purchasing and selling illegal prescription drugs at this time, got tramadol, diazepam, and pregabalin. And then he went ahead and poisoned Evie with a mixture of these drugs. Evie herself had no idea what the drugs were, but Jordan had lied to her and told her that these will make you feel much better. I understand you don't like pills or anything like that, but you're not getting any better, and these are going to make you feel better. And of course, she became worse. And he kind of convinced her that she had the stomach flu, and she went along with it. I have the stomach flu. In the meantime, he was pretending to do everything he could do to help her, including attempted to arrange medical examinations and everything like that. So remember, Evie was telling her friends that, no, he got me an appointment at a doctor and everything like that. But in reality, he wasn't calling anybody. He wasn't seeking medical assistance. And when the doctor's offices called back, he wasn't answering the phone. The WhatsApp messages with the group continued on the 23rd, and officers saw that, tracking the cell phone and traffic camera footage showed Jordan head into the Northwest, which was another county, to get the drugs. The day Evie died, Jordan had set up a meeting with a member of the UK Tablets group and traveled to Bolton while she was home dying. And remember those letters that fell out of the back of the picture frame that he was so scared for Kimberly to see? He said one was to the daughter and one was a suicide note. Yeah, well, experts got a hold of those too, and they determined that that wasn't Evie's handwriting. So basically it was forged letters. So of course, during the trial, Jordan pleaded what? Not guilty on all accounts. Also, remember when I said Jordan had told the police that those WhatsApp messages and social media messages weren't from him? Well, during the trial on Monday, November 29th, 2021, that's when he finally admitted to the judge that he lied. He stated all of those messages did come from him, but the drugs were not used to kill Evie. They were for recreational purposes for himself. Yeah, whatever. The defendant attorney, Ben Myers, QC, asked Jordan why he lied and decided to tell the truth now. I'm not even going to try my British accent. Quote, because the police were out to get me, in my view, so I did not want to admit buying drugs, so I lied. Because it was hard to get out of the lie, that's why I didn't tell the truth until now, but eventually I knew I had to tell the truth. End quote. So the attorney said, when you got drugs, did that have anything to do with Evie Adams? No, never. On December 17, 2021, after a 10-week trial at Preston Crown Court, Jordan was convicted on all 3 murders. The judge carrying out the sentence said that Jordan was responsible for 3 murders, 2 of which were infants dependent on him for their well-being. Even Evie trusted him completely and took drugs from him. The seriousness of his offenses pointed to him being a serial killer, enjoying smothering little children, as there was some degree of planning and premeditation to that. I agree with the judge. He was on his way. Well, not on his way. He was a serial killer. Do you know how long it takes to smother a person? And it's not like in the movies where it takes 3 seconds. No. You literally have to hold that for a while. And I can't imagine somebody doing that to a helpless baby, not to mention your own baby, any baby, but your own? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Jordan was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 40 years in prison. Of course, the jerk appealed his sentence. His lawyer, or barrister as they're called in the UK, argued that the 2 attempted murders of a child and 2 murders of his own children should have been tried separately from the murder of Evie. How? I'm still asking, how do lawyers live with themselves? Again, not every lawyer, but I'm talking about people like this. And I guess the answer would be in a nice 3-car garage, 10-bedroom house somewhere, right? Anyway, the barrister said, quote, there were two distinct strains of fact in this case. They should not have been tried together in the first place. These are entirely different sets of facts coming out of different investigations, end quote. The three Court of Appeal judges in London gave him and his lawyer the finger and dismissed his appeal, stating the, quote, trial proceeded fairly. In fact, the court told the jurors that the evidence dealing with the children against Jordan should be used in a limited way in the trial dealing with Evie Adams. The barrister argued that it was, quote, unlikely, if not cognitively improbable, end quote, that the jurors would dismiss this evidence and focus solely on what was going on with the case of Evie. In response, the judge said, yeah, well, sucks to be you. Matter of fact, just for putting this idiocy in front of me, I'm giving your client 8 extra years. How you like them apples? Seriously, he said, quote, we have no reason to doubt that the trial proceeded fairly, end quote. The judge also rejected the challenge over the jury's use of other evidence when considering the verdict on Evie's death. Quote, we have to assume that the jury did abide by those directions, end quote. And seriously, they did give Jordan 8 extra years. His sentence was changed to life in prison with a minimum of 48 years. Damn, that's cold-blooded. Laura has found some closure in meeting Evie's family during the trial. It was chilling for her to think that this could have been her had she not gotten out of the relationship in time. She's currently with a new partner, a stairlift engineer named Andy Chambers. The broken-hearted mother finds comfort in holding her children's toys and clothes and wishes to have more children one day. It took her a long time to trust men again, and I couldn't even imagine personally. She's hoping to work with women trapped in abusive relationships, hoping to help them learn to get out of it in time. She was devastated because she had relied on Jordan for comfort, and he misused her trust and caused her a great deal of pain. A welfare organization will be set up in Evie's name to honor her memory as her parents grieve the loss of their daughter. The unnamed baby that I said I would put the name in our Patreon and is nearly 9 years old now. And they've just kept her out of the public eye. There's no pictures of her. Maybe they changed her name. There's no new name for her. They just want to keep her out of the public eye and just want to hope that she has a normal life. Jordan is an example of a psychopath and a serial killer. He was a cold, merciless killer who had narcissistic tendencies and was highly manipulative. This case also highlights what domestic abuse can eventually lead to. Always be wary of red flags. If not, it can affect your kids and be a danger to your life. And this is the case of Jordan Monaghan. What did y'all think about this case? Did y'all think that this could have been prevented? Maybe not the first one, but the others? Did you think it was the fault of anyone other than Jordan's? Maybe the police could have looked into it. Maybe after the second child came in sick, the hospital could have phoned it in. What do y'all think? I just want to know. I'm not blaming anybody except Jordan, of course, but I just want to know what y'all think. Let me know in the comments below or shoot us an SOS on our website, www.murderandlove.com. Right there, the SOS link is that orange button right there on our homepage. You can't miss it. And for bonuses, don't forget to join us over at patreon.com/love and murder and become an exclusive member of our LAM community. You get commercial-free, full-length, early release episodes of Love and Murder, as well as whatever extras that we're covering on that case there. Like you'll get extra pictures of this case. You're going to get the name of that child. Just any extras that we have, you get it over there. Whereas outside of there, you get the episode. You don't get any extras. Like some episodes, we do put in testimony. We put in videos of the interrogation. We include pictures of the crime scene, all of that stuff. You get that in Love and Murder. In addition to all of that, you also get bonus episodes. You get stuff like extra true crime episodes, Serial Corner, Crazy Crime, all of that stuff. You get stuff about the host. You get to hear more about our lives, what we're doing, and just whatever random craziness that we want to put in there to entertain our lambs. We put all kind of stuff in our Patreon. So head on over there, www.patreon.com/love and murder, and become an exclusive lamb. You can get options started at only $1 a month. But the best tier is $5 and above. We're about to change some stuff up, so I would get in there right now if I were you at the $5 tier or above. You can find all our social media links in the show notes below. Go ahead and follow us there. And as always, we end each episode by reminding you that it's, say it with me now, all love and no murder, y'all. Until next episode. Emotional damage.